Hello, happy new year. It is 2020. That is exciting. I'm Hannah, welcome back or welcome to my channel. We like to talk about all things sex and relationships and disability and chronic illness. Over here, it's a good time. Come on in, subscribe if you haven't already, hit that notification bell if you haven't already. I make new videos every week. So I often get asked how I became a sex educator or like where my passion for sex ed came from. And I don't really have a single answer to this question. It's really difficult for me because it kind of spans lots of years, and it wasn't until I started really thinking about it, like, why am I doing sex ed? Where did this interest come from? It wasn't until I actually started thinking about it that I started to find some clues, shall we say, in my past that this would be a route that I might want to take. So in this video, we are going to be going back in time, to my childhood and to my adolescence to find these clues of why I'm now a sex educator. And there's some weird stuff. Is it weird? I don't know. Please let me know if you were also like this as a young person, or if you are like this as a young person. I don't know what that says about me, what that says about us. We'll find out. So the first memory that I have of being interested in sex as a subject, not as something that I would do, but as a subject. This is what we're talking about. It's the subject matter. That was when my parents gave me this book. This, unfortunately, isn't the exact book that they gave me. That got lost along the way, and I rebought it on Amazon a few years ago. It's Let's Talk About Where Babies Come From. I think my parents gave me this book when I was about 9 or 10 years old. By then, I think I did know where babies came from, but I think they gave me this to answer all of my further questions. It's narrated by these two characters here, a bird and a bee. Do you get it? Do you get it? And also look at these inside pages. It's a big egg and lots of sperm worshipping it. At least that's how I think of it. The main things that I remember about this book is the sex page and the great sperm race. Here we go. This is the sex page. At age 10, I stared at this for ages, just being like, what is happening? I can't remember if I was aroused by it or not, but this to me was like the first graphic depiction of sex that I'd seen. I count myself lucky that this was the most graphic thing that I'd seen by the age of 10. So this was the sex page that fascinated me, and then the great sperm race comes immediately after. The big race, a lovely little cartoon of the great sperm race. Oh look, it's the end of a penis. But this book is also great. It has like what is love and different kinds of love, and it shows like different sexualities, and it has like different kinds of families. And then this is also a wild bit where it shows you the development of a fetus. Look at this page. This, it says, is actual size. 1 month is actual size. Oh, the ball of cells, there's a dot on the page, that's actual size. 6 months is actual size. They're all actual size, except for 1 month, which is a bit enlarged, and 1.5 months, which is a bit enlarged. But other than that, it says they are all the actual size. So yeah, this is the first thing that I can remember about the age of 10. Now, we fast forward a few years to the next thing that I remember, which was in year 9 at school. So it'd have been 13, 14 years old. And it was, the Condom Demo. If you got this in school, you will remember it. Is this condom in date? Yes, 2021. Okay, basically what happened was we were put in groups of like 4 or 5, and we were given a test tube, which was meant to be our dildo / banana. That's all the school had, science test tubes. The nurse handed out some condoms, and we had to practice putting the condom on the test tube. No one in my group wanted to touch the condom. Everyone was like, nah. And here's the thing, this is where my bad memory comes in. I remember stepping up. I remember being the one being like, I will put on the condom. But I don't remember why. Like, I don't remember whether I felt comfortable around it. I don't know whether I was like interested in it, or I don't know whether it was just because I was a teacher's pet in general and I would literally do anything to be good in class. But all I remember is that I was the only one in the group to touch the condom because everyone was like, ew! I don't even remember if I was grossed out by it. This was definitely my first time touching a condom, I think. I'm gonna show you how I did it. I don't have anything to show you, but basically I put it on the wrong way around and it started rolling back up the test tube. And I was like, what is going on? And the nurse came over and she was like, you've put it on the wrong way around. It needs to go on this way around. So good job that I did have that lesson before using condoms for real. So it's supposed to like roll outwards like that. However, I'd put it on this way around and it was rolling inwards. And so as you can see, it wasn't good. And it just like rolled back up the test tube, and now I have really lubey fingers and I didn't think this through. If you do find that you've put a condom on the wrong way around, do not then inside out it and put it on the right way around, because you may have already got some semen on the condom, and then now that is on the outside of the condom, which is where you don't want it. So just FYI. So yeah, I was more than happy to step up and be the one in my group to put the condom on, but I don't know why. I cannot remember what was going through my head in that moment. The next thing I remember happening was around the same time, and this is the first time that actually there were signs of maybe me becoming a sex educator rather than just interested in the subject. And that was around periods and period products specifically. Around the age of 13, 14, boys started to be curious about what the girls were up to. Obviously now I know that it's not as binary as that, but when I was at school, it was like girls get periods and boys find them gross and disgusting. But what I would do, for some reason, I don't know why, this is just something that I did, I would take it upon myself to educate the boys about periods, and I would show them how pads and tampons worked. We'd just be hanging out at my house after school, and I would grab a tampon and I'd take the boys into the bathroom. The story is actually not going where you might think it's going. What I would do is I would just basically, oh my God, I never used these tampons when I was in school though. Take the tampon, just this bit of it, and I would run it under some water. Basically, look at that. And I would just basically show them how it expands. But then I had to kind of reassure them. And I was like, it doesn't get this big inside, because obviously the amount of water that this thing has soaked up is not like the amount of blood. So I would do that with tampons. Just to be clear, I wouldn't actually demo it on myself, on my body. That's not what happened. And then I would do the same for pads. I don't think I ran the pads underwater because it was like less cool to see a pad expand. That doesn't really happen. But I would show them like how it works and like just what one looks like what it actually looks like. So I'd be like, here is a pad, it's sticky, we put it in our knickers, and then, you know, it's got the wings and they go around your knickers. Oh God, so sticky. I do also remember a game of dares that we played once, and one of the boys got dared to put some ketchup on a pad and like stick it onto his forehead and run down the street. And I'm pretty sure he did it. Yeah, good times. Good times. So yeah, that was definitely like the first memory that I have of teaching other people about bodies and like sex related stuff. There you go, like 13, 14 I was. It was in me from a young age. Okay, so this next one is a really funny one, and I only realized that it happened recently. Like I only like remembered it and actually remembered like, that's weird. Not everyone would have done that. Which was when I was like 15, 16 and me and my boyfriend at the time were thinking about having sex. I asked my parents for the talk. I think I'd got it in my head that the talk was a rite of passage. People talk about the talk so much. It's like, have you had the talk? Have your parents given you the talk? But that's not what it is. It's not the talk and then you're like, done. It's like lots of little talks throughout your entire life. And my parents were always really open about sex at home. My mum, like, you know, offered to buy me condoms. She had stacked up on period products before I'd even started. It was a very chill household when it came to that kind of stuff. And so I thank them for that, because then I felt comfortable like going to them and like asking them questions. But I had clearly very much internalized the fact that the talk was an event and it was something that I had to tick off before I had sex. Anyone else? Anyone else? Just me. Yeah, sure. And so I asked my parents to give me the talk. And I think they were just like, what? Because it's not a thing. The talk is not a thing. It's not an event. Oh my God. So my mum has lots of baths, and when it's my mum's bath time, that is like time for you to kind of like sit in there and like have your deep chats and have conversations with her. And so I was like, okay, mum's having a bath. This is like the perfect opportunity. And so I grabbed my dad as well. I can't remember the logistics of this. Maybe they remember. I don't know if they would remember this. So it was like me and my dad sat in the bathroom and my mum in the bath. And I was like, so I might be thinking about having sex. Is there anything that you want me to know beforehand? What? But they were just lovely and were just like, oh, well, you know, just make sure that you're ready and like use protection and da-da-da. That's all I remember from that. But I just find it weird that I asked to have the talk from my parents. I don't know. I think this maybe also ties into me being like a goody two-shoes and never wanting to get into trouble at school or at home. Because I was thinking about having sex, me getting the talk from my parents was also like them giving me permission. I don't know. Maybe I need a therapist to like dive into all of that stuff. Now we move on to sixth form college. For anyone who's not from the UK, sixth form college is where you go for 2 years, 16 to 18. So I arrive at sixth form college. I have had my sexual debut and I'm meeting other people who maybe had different upbringings to me, maybe went to a different school to me, so we didn't get the same sex education. So there are two things that happened in college that indicate to me that I was interested in sex ed. One, there was a boy that I really, really fancied. He went to a different college, but we had lots of mutual friends and oh my God, I would pore over his Facebook photos. I was a little bit obsessed. It was bad. After months and months of pining, of fancying this boy and it never happening, it happened. I don't know how. It was at one of the parties and we start making out and I was just like, oh my God. I was in. I was like, this is the best thing ever. There was an after party at like someone's house and we continue canoodling and da-da-da-da and we're like going for it. We find a bedroom and we're like gonna have sex. However, neither of us have a condom on us. And so I'm like, well, it's not gonna happen because I got taught sex ed. And, you know, I did the condom demo. Not afraid of condoms. And he said, it's all right, I'll just pull out. And I was like, that doesn't work. And I remember being so shocked that that was something that he was willing to do. We didn't have sex, that didn't happen, and I can't actually remember then what happened for the rest of the evening, but we did not have penetration. I remember at the time it not being a difficult decision to make. I was just like, no condom, no sexy time. Like, for some reason, I could completely disassociate my feelings for him and wanting to bone with rationality. And I was drunk as well. How did I manage that? I'm like, well done, past Hannah. But that for me was the first time that I really understood that not everyone was coming to sex with the same knowledge, from the same place, with the same understanding. And I was like, wait, how did he come to that conclusion? And I've been taught that the pull-out method isn't reliable. And also STIs, guys. That was incident number one. Incident number two was during an RE class, religious education. It was a class about healthy relationships. And I raised my hand and I was like, are you going to teach us about contraception and abortion and all of these things that I just assumed that we would be taught about now that we were like 17? And our teacher was like, we can't talk about those things in this college because it's a Catholic college and it goes against the Catholic Church rules. So like no abortion, no contraception. And I remember getting angry. And like, as we've seen from previous examples, I'm a goody two-shoes. I'm a teacher's pet. I don't want to upset anyone. I don't want to get myself into trouble. I remember yelling. I probably wasn't yelling. I remember arguing with her and challenging her on that and just being like, but why? Like, we're all 17. We all need to know this information. I think I remember saying something like, we're all having sex. But, you know, in hindsight, I know that not all 17-year-olds are having sex. But at the time, I was just like, this is horrendous. Like, we all could be having sex and we need to learn about this kind of thing. But no, she was having none of it. And we did not get taught that in school. And so that was the first time that I really felt there was something wrong. So this boy didn't know that the pull-out method isn't a reliable form of contraception and you can still get STIs from using the pull-out method. Also, our school is refusing to give us education around contraception. So I was like, this is bad. And then there were 2 years of my life that I have no idea what happened. No, I know what happened in those years. I just have no examples of like me getting into sex ed. The next thing I remember is being 19 and finding YouTube and suddenly like opening up this whole can of worms and learning all about sex from sex educators on the internet. I don't know what was happening between 17 and 19 other than I had a long-term boyfriend, so I don't know whether I was just like, I know it all now. And I just like stopped being interested in learning about it. I don't know. But yeah, and then 19, discovered YouTube, started making videos, and also then started making my own sex ed content. There you have it. There is the history of my sex ed journey, I guess. Those are all of the things that I can remember. And yeah, some of them are a bit hazy. I can't remember specific details, but I hope that gives you like a general idea of how I became me, who I am. I would love to hear in the comments how you became interested in sex as a subject, not as a thing that you do, but as a subject matter. Because I imagine that a lot of you who watch this channel are also interested in sex as a subject. Please like this video if you liked it and you liked my demos, my water tampon demo. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell because I make new videos every week, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.